Yeah, hopefully conditions aren't as tough at Glen Eagles, where Liverpool defender and Scotland captain Andy Robertson is holding a charity golf day. Our reporter Adam Binney's tracked down the man himself. Adam, a very good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning all. It's been a very long season for a lot of players in the Premier League this year, but the hard work continues for Scotland captain Andy Robertson. We're at Glen Eagles today for the AR26 Charity Captain's Club Golf Day, and I'm delighted to say the man himself, Andy Robertson, joins me now. Andy, a very good morning to you. Can you just first of all start by telling us a little bit about some of the work that your charity does?
Yeah, first of all, I think we're happy that the weather's a bit better than the last couple of years we've had the golf day. But yeah, look, obviously the charity tries to provide free football up and down, Scotland, for kids that are maybe not, fortunate enough to have a lot, and we just try and make it as accessible for everyone as possible. We also try and give life-changing experiences to people that are maybe going through a tough time, whether that's an illness or things going on in their family and things like that. We've done a lot in that. We also have a Hope for Youth programme where we kind of help teenagers and things like that to maybe further their education and try and help them with life after school and things like that. So we're quite busy, and these days are important to showcase what we've kind of been up to in the last year, because we only have one golf day a year, and the people that come are always so supportive, but it's important that we show them the progress and the update of how we've done in the last year, and then obviously try and keep pushing every single year to take the charity to new limits, and that's what we're going to try and do.
And you're a busy guy. Why do you do this? Why is this so important?
I just think it's important to me, my wife as well, because we're we've got our own kids. We know how fortunate they are to to have the life that they've got, and we try and remind them as much as possible about that. And we know some kids aren't as fortunate as that, and we want to try and we believed that the gap was getting bigger in society, and we wanted to try and bridge that a little bit and try and even if we help 1% of people, then we believe that we've done good. So we've helped more than that. Our Football for All programme especially is flying in the 10 regions that we're in Scotland just now, but we want to get more. We want to get into more places. We want to provide more free football up and down the country, and put more smiles on kids' faces. You're
obviously just back from international duty from that friendly against Liechtenstein. Head coach Steve Clarke described this latest camp as a bit of a disappointment, despite that win in that game on Monday. How do you see it? How do you think it went?
Yeah, I completely agree with him. I think obviously Friday was a huge disappointment, a game that we tried to go into to build momentum going into World Cup qualifiers, and it probably did the complete opposite. And then Monday was about being professional. The pitch was dry. It wasn't exactly the greatest of standard, and last game of the season it was about being professional, doing things right, and that was our message going into the game. If we do it, then we'll win the game comfortably, and thankfully we've done that. It was good to see our strikers scored and get confidence in front of goal in the Scotland jersey. We made quite a lot of uncapped players now capped, which is positive. A few good performances from them as well, and so yeah, I'm still optimistic. I'm still looking forward to the future, but Friday was a bit of a blow, and we know maybe the last year and stuff hasn't maybe been up to scratch, but I still believe in the squad that we've got, and I do believe that we can cause any team's problems as long as we get back to the basics that we're good at.
Such a big year for Scotland as well, with the World Cup a year away qualifiers coming up in September. Just how concerning are results like that one on Friday night against Iceland ahead of such a big year?
Yeah, of course. Look, you can look at it at two ways. First of all, we're thankful that it wasn't in a qualifier. First of all, if you're going to put in a performance like that and you're going to make the mistakes that we made and things like that, then better off doing it in a friendly than a competitive match. So that's the only positive I think we could have took from Friday. But yeah, we can't afford that. We know how hard it is to qualify for a World Cup. The last time we tried it, we had a pretty perfect campaign, only finishing a couple of points behind, Denmark, I think it was, and we then go into the playoffs, and we know how hard the games in the playoffs are. So we're in a 14 group. It's more of a kind of sprint. Obviously there's only 6 games, and it's a real tough group. We've played Denmark a few times. Obviously played Greece in the playoffs in March, and they got the better of us. So we know it's going to be difficult. But like I said, if we get back to doing what we're good at, back to our basics, back to our basic principles, then I do believe we can give anyone a game. And I think we've shown that at the highest level. drawn against Portugal, beating Croatia, beat Spain. I know that feels a long time ago, but we have competed against teams when we do that right, and that's what we're going to need to do for all 6 games to give ourselves a chance.
Just onto Club Matters, a lot's going to be made of your role for the upcoming season and perhaps your future beyond that. Of course, going into the final year of your contract at Liverpool. Have you had any discussions yet? Is that something you would like to do, to stay at Liverpool beyond this season?
We have discussed, of course we have. The club have been, we've had good discussions, me and the club. But what the future holds, I'm not sure. All I know is tomorrow I fly off on holiday and it's well needed, and I need a rest from after a long season, and then I look forward to pre-season. That's all my focus is. I can't look too far ahead. I've never have done that, so I'm not going to start doing that now. I know the position I'm in. I know I've only got a year left and things like that, and a lot's getting spoke about and a lot's getting said. But my pure focus is focusing on being a dad for the next couple of weeks and enjoying that time with the kids, and then I'll try and come back in the best shape possible for pre-season, and then we'll see what the future holds when the decisions come.
There has been a lot of chat about the club signing another left back. Is that something you relish, that challenge of battling for that number 1 spot?
I think at any big club, I think you always have to keep moving. The club always moves forward, and I think you've seen that us and also other big clubs like Man City and things have been very active early doors in the window. I know we've only got Frimpong in the door so far, but it looks as if maybe 1 or 2 is going to be close by from what we can see on Sky Sports News probably. But yeah, look, we're at the top. We obviously won the league, and it's important that the club try to keep improving and try and keep finding ways to do that. And they've obviously identified certain positions that they want to get new blood in. Looks like younger. The players that we're linked with are all younger players, and they're all exciting players as well. So when you play for a big club at Liverpool, you expect challenges, you expect to have competition, and I've always faced that, and so has everyone in their own positions, and we expect nothing less. We want the club to be ambitious. They're doing that, and wherever we fit into that, then if you're happy with the role, then you stay and you do it. If you're not, then I'm sure there'll be some people out the door as well. But that's the nature of football, and but it's one of the biggest clubs in the world, and they have to keep moving.
Just on those guys that you're linked with, I'm not going to ask you specifically about speculation, but Florian Wirtz is a name that keeps coming up, been linked with the club for quite some time now. If you cast your mind back to last year, first game of the Euros, you got the chance to play against him, just how special a player do you think he is, and how tough an opponent is he?
He was excellent against us, I do remember that. Obviously that game was extremely tough for us, but he was excellent. He was the one causing us problems in the half space, running in behind. He can mix it up. So I haven't seen too much of him, but I have played against him, and I think that was enough to me to see that he was going to be a top player. And then obviously we played Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League this year as well, and I think we dominated that game a bit more, and it was probably a bit more difficult, but certainly in the German team against us he was excellent. So like you said, it looks as if we certainly are linked with him, that's for sure. You can't miss it, you can't not see it, but if we get him through, then an exciting talent through the door. We've already got a lot of exciting talent in there, and he's a right good player, and he'll only help us, and if he does get through the door, then we'll be excited to play with him.
Just in more general terms, you go into this Premier League season as Premier League champions. Do you enjoy that, having a little bit of a target on your back as the team that won it last season? Yeah,
well, I think that's something that now we're going to need to deal with. I think the lads that have been there for a while, me, Virgil, Mo, and Ali, we after we won the league the last time, we'd kind of got used to that, the kind of pressure, and we feel it. But for a lot of the lads now that they've won it, and the lads coming in, they'll feel it for the first time. I don't know how the bookies will put it, but I'd imagine we'll be probably favourites, or there'll certainly be more expectation on us than there was at the start last season. And that kind of suited us last season. We could kind of go under the radar and get off to a good start, and then by the time people took us seriously, we were probably too far ahead, and that suited us perfectly last season. But now there's expectation. We were number 1 last season. Our fans probably expect us to be number 1 again this season, like they do every season, and there'll be a lot more expectation. So it's up to us to manage that. It's up to us to deal with that, and I think we've got the mentality in the squad to do that. But the other teams will improve as well, and it's a hell of a tough league, and we'll see where we go. But we believe in our squad, and we believe in the mentality in the squad, and we certainly won't be resting on laurels, that for sure, and we'll try and push as much as we can next season. Such
a big day for your charity here at Glen Eagles. Andy, I can't let you go before asking, how's your game been? Have you had a chance to get out much lately?
I played last week, and let's just say I've just had to be in the shop and buy more golf balls. So we'll see how we go. I've got John McGinn by my side, and he's usually a calming influence. So hopefully me and him can produce something today.